Hello, I'm Jürgen Wolf. I've been a professional writer for about 25 years, and I'm the author of these two books, Your Writing Coach and Your Creative Writing Masterclass. And today I'm going to share some writing tips with you. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to write a myth. Now, a myth is an ancient story, and it was often made up by people at that time to explain some of the happenings of nature. Lightning, volcanoes, thunderstorms, all kinds of things they didn't really understand. They didn't have science there to explain it, so they made up stories. And often these stories involved supernatural beings, gods, witches, warlocks, dragons, all kinds of creatures as part of the story. There's also another form of mythology which is about a hero's journey. And this is often a young person who goes on a quest of some kind to find a treasure or to solve a problem or rescue a princess, something like that. One way to get aware of how to write a myth is to read a bunch of them. It's fun too. Different cultures too have different myths, so you'll learn a lot about the cultures as you do that. But let's say you're going to write one now. So you can begin with picking a part of nature that you want to explain through a myth. You might say how to explain the existence of the North and South Pole, why the leaves fall off the trees, or anything you care to choose. And you should know a little bit about it anyway, so you might want to research a little bit first. And then think about, what does this part of nature represent? What do you associate with it? So if we use the example of the North and South Pole, we think about polar bears, we think perhaps about icebergs, we certainly think about cold and freezing. So those are some of the things that you could use as an element of a story. Another way to start a story like that is to think about the gods wanting to either reward or punish a human being. So in this case, because there are two poles, it might be two people. So we might think about, let's say, a brother and sister. And if we say cold is part of it, how can we fit that in? Maybe they have cold hearts. They're very cruel to each other and to other people, and that angers the gods. So maybe the gods, to punish them, send them to a very hot place, but it doesn't actually thaw their hearts. So then the gods make up an even colder place, or two places, that are even colder than their cold hearts, and they banish one to the North Pole and one to the South Pole. So that's just an example of coming up with a metaphor, being kind of creative about what the elements are that relate to the thing you're trying to explain, and making a story of it. So just to summarize now, a couple of ways to write myths. One is this one we've just looked at, of explaining a force of nature somehow. The other is the hero's journey. And the way you go about it is to think about what are some metaphors for the literal things, the actual things that are happening, and construct a story with a beginning, middle, and end, and involve some of these supernatural elements. And that's how to write a myth.